You know that moment when you walk past a bathroom at like 2:13 a.m., catch your own face in the mirror, and for half a second your brain goes, "Nope, that was not me, not fully, not correctly." Same eyes, same hoodie, same sleep-deprived goblin posture. But something feels off, and that is the whole mirror problem. Humans have been weird about mirrors for thousands of years because a mirror does two things at once. It proves you exist, and it makes you look like someone else at the exact same time. That is a disgusting combo for the human mind. Long before the modern bathroom mirror, people treated reflections as tied to the soul, to death, to prophecy, to bad luck, and to things you really did not want following you home. So yeah, tonight we're talking about why mirrors freaked people out for literally thousands of years. The weird part, a mirror is just light bouncing back at you. Very normal, very scientific, very clean. Except psychologically, it never feels that simple. You are looking at yourself, but not directly. You're seeing a version of yourself that lives one sheet of glass away and copies you with zero delay. That is already creepy, if you think about it for more than 4 seconds, which is why your brain wisely tells you to stop. Now put that mirror in a dark hallway, an empty gym locker room, the back bathroom at a house party, the elevator in a nearly dead mall, or the bedroom of some old relative whose furniture looks like it remembers the plague. Suddenly, the mirror is no longer decor. It is surveillance for the supernatural. Same object, different mood. Humans are unbelievably easy to bully with context. That is why the 2:13 a.m. bathroom mirror keeps winning. It turns your own face into a maybe. And once your own face becomes a maybe, the rest of reality gets real shaky, real fast. Before glass, for most of human history, mirrors were not those big, flat, brutally honest things hanging above sinks. Some of the oldest known manufactured mirrors were made from polished obsidian in what is now Turkey around the late Neolithic period. And later mirrors in places like Egypt were polished copper, bronze, or gold. In Greco-Roman antiquity and much of the European Middle Ages, mirrors were commonly slightly convex discs of polished metal, not perfect glass panels. Large full-body mirrors show up much later, and cheap silvered glass mirrors only become widely manufacturable after Justus von Liebig's silvering process in 1835. That matters because an old mirror was not just a casual household object. It was expensive, small, imperfect, sometimes curved, sometimes dim, sometimes more like a black reflective stone than a clean image. Which means a lot of ancient people were not seeing a crisp HD face check. They were seeing a dark, partial, shimmering version of themselves. Imagine trying to understand selfhood while your only reflection looks like a haunted coin. Of course, weird beliefs grew around it. A thing that shows your face badly is somehow scarier than a thing that shows it well. The 2:13 a.m. bathroom mirror does the same trick by cheating with bad light. Not just your face. One reason mirrors hit so hard is that reflections mess with identity. You know the reflection is you, but it is also separate from you. It moves when you move. It copies you perfectly. It lives in a fake space. And if you stare too long, it starts feeling less like me and more like that guy. Human brains hate that gap. We like categories, me or not me, safe or not safe, door or wall. The mirror gives you both answers at once. That is why mirrors show up in so many familiar low-level fear zones. Rear-view mirror on a night drive, black phone screen catching your face before it wakes up, a shop window after closing, a security mirror at the end of a supermarket aisle, your laptop camera preview before a call. You are not just seeing yourself, you are getting this weird side-angle proof that you are also an object in the world. Not a hero, not a main character, just a creature with a face and eye bags, which is already upsetting before folklore even gets involved. Soul logic. A lot of traditional mirror fear comes from the idea that a reflection is not just an image, It is connected to your essence. The Pitt Rivers Museum notes that mirrors were traditionally believed to reveal the future rather than the present, and that they were also said to reflect a person's soul. In that logic, a distorted reflection could imply a corrupted soul. That same cluster of beliefs also fed later ideas that beings without souls would fail the mirror test. And honestly, even if you do not believe any of that, the logic makes emotional sense. A mirror does feel weirdly personal. A chair is a chair. A spoon is a spoon. But a mirror contains your face. It seems to hold you for a second. So ancient and medieval people did what humans always do. They built a theory around the feeling. If the reflection feels alive, maybe it carries part of the self. If it can copy the self, maybe it can damage the self. If it can show what is hidden, maybe it can expose the soul. Cool. Great. We invented an object that might spiritually dox you. The Greek problem. The Greeks were already connecting reflections with danger. Britannica notes that the story of Narcissus may derive from an ancient Greek superstition that it was unlucky, even fatal, to see one's own reflection. That is important because it shows the fear is not just, wow, vanity is bad. It is deeper than that. The reflection itself can be dangerous, not because it is flattering, because it pulls you out of the world and traps you in an image. That is why the Narcissus story still works. Forget the psychology class version for a second. On the creepy level, it is about a guy staring into an image until the image destroys him. That is modern too. Doom-scrolling selfies, refreshing your own face. Living in camera mode. Humans love getting spiritually mugged by surfaces. The old pool becomes the modern front-facing camera. The myth barely had to update. It just got Wi-Fi. Oracle mode. Mirrors were not only feared, they were used. In ancient Greece, mirror divination katoptromancy, which just means using a mirror to get hidden knowledge or omens, is attested in several sources, including a sanctuary description by Pausanias. Scholars note that the practice existed, but exactly how it worked varied and was not fully consistent. Medieval Europe also linked mirror divination with witchcraft, so the mirror was not merely a passive object. It was treated like a tool for contacting truth you were maybe not supposed to access directly. And this is where the 2:13 a.m. bathroom mirror becomes more than a meme, because the creepy idea is ancient. Look long enough, in the right way, at the right time, and the mirror tells you something. Maybe about death, maybe about illness, maybe about spirits, maybe about yourself. That hits because mirrors already feel like a portal without needing actual portal technology. It is a fake room with a fake person in it. You do not need a demon to make that unsettling. Physics already did a pretty solid job. Kings, priests, and nerds. Mirror fear was not just peasant superstition. Powerful and educated people got into this too. A black obsidian mirror associated with John Dee, advisor to Elizabeth I, has been identified as having Aztec origins, and it was reportedly used in his attempts to communicate with angels. So even in the 16th century, a mirror could still be treated as more than an object for grooming. It could be an instrument for access, a device, a medium, basically the most cursed tablet ever made. And that tracks with a broader pattern. Once an object reflects more than your face, people start loading it with meaning. You use it for status, ritual, divination, power. In Han China, for example, bronze mirrors could carry cosmic symbolism. The square world, circular heavens, cardinal directions, the cosmic ocean, the whole universe stamped onto the back of a thing that also reflects light. That tells you mirrors were not just practical, they were conceptually huge. A mirror could stand between daily life and the structure of the cosmos, which is a very intense resume for something now sold next to shower caddies. The death room. Then we get to one of the creepiest mirror traditions of all. What happens when someone dies? In Jewish mourning practice, Shiva is the 7-day period of prescribed mourning after burial, and traditional observance includes covering mirrors. One common explanation is that mourners should not focus on vanity or appearance, while mystical and psychological explanations also developed around the custom. Chabad, for example, describes both the older spiritual framing and a more psychological reading, where grief makes self-judgment harsher, and looking into the mirror can intensify that inner haunting. Now think about why that image is so strong. A house after a death, curtains drawn, people speaking quietly, and every mirror covered. That is horror cinema without even trying. But it is also emotionally smart. Mirrors force self-awareness. Mourning often crushes it. You do not want the face. You want the person who is gone. The covered mirror says, not now, not this week, not this version of reality. It is a ritual refusal to be pulled back into surface life. And yes, it also helps that uncovered mirrors in grief settings feel like exactly the kind of thing a ghost story would exploit in minute 3. Break it. Then there is the classic one. Break a mirror, get 7 years of bad luck. According to explanations preserved in sources like the University of South Carolina's discussion of the superstition and the Pitt Rivers Museum summary, Romans linked the belief to the idea that the body renewed itself every 7 years, so the damage was not permanent forever, just long enough to absolutely ruin your mood. The mirror was not just broken glass. It was damage to the self. And that belief only makes sense if the mirror is already spiritually overqualified. If a mirror is just furniture, breaking it is annoying. If a mirror is tied to your image, your essence, your fortune, your soul, then breaking it becomes personal. You did not smash an object. You cracked your luck. You injured the copy that somehow counts as you, which is absurd, but also weirdly intuitive. Even now, when somebody breaks a mirror, everyone does that tiny pause. That one little, nice, cursed now moment. Pure, irrational nonsense. Completely undefeated. Bad copies. Mirror fear also lives in the idea of the wrong copy. Not a monster exactly, just you, but off, too still, too delayed, smiling at the wrong time, looking tired in a way that feels ancient. Horror loves this because it is the cheapest possible route to existential damage. You do not need claws. You do not need blood. You just need the reflection to stop behaving like a reflection. That fear is all over modern life. Rearview mirror and there is maybe a face in the back seat. Selfie camera opens before you are ready and you see your head from a cursed angle. Dressing room mirror shows you underlighting designed by a bitter enemy. Old mirrored wardrobes in horror movies. Empty dance studios. Black TV screens at night. We keep building reflective surfaces and then acting surprised when they become containers for dread. Humans are like, here is a fake second world. I hope nothing bad ever uses it. Incredible strategy. The cheap modern curse. Here is another reason mirror fear exploded instead of fading away. Mirrors became ordinary. Once cheap glass mirrors spread, the uncanny stopped being rare and went domestic. Pitt Rivers notes that mirrors remained expensive luxury items until silvered glass in the 1830s made mass manufacture possible. So the haunted surface moved from palace, tomb, ritual space, and elite object into the bedroom, hallway, bathroom, barber shop, hotel, school washroom, and every creepy Airbnb on Earth. That changes everything. An ancient polished bronze disc is mysterious because it is rare. A bathroom mirror is worse because it is constant. It catches you every day. Sick, hungover, crying, half asleep, coming home at 3 a.m. after a bad drive. Standing there in one sock debating life, the ordinary mirror becomes the perfect horror object because it lives with you. It sees all versions. It is always there. Very loyal, very threatening. The bathroom ritual. And then, obviously, the modern mirror legend factory gives us Bloody Mary. Britannica notes that the childhood ghost story about repeating Bloody Mary into a mirror has a murky origin. which is exactly what you would expect from a story that is basically folklore speedrunning itself through school bathrooms and sleepovers. What makes Bloody Mary stick is that it is basically ancient mirror divination stripped down for children and fueled by bad lighting, peer pressure, and the worst bathroom acoustics imaginable. Stand in front of reflective surface. Use repetition. Add darkness. Expect revelation. Then panic when your own face starts looking wrong. That is not random. That is old mirror logic with a cheaper budget. The 2:13 a.m. bathroom mirror is the same stage. The ritual just formalizes it. Your brain, betrayer. Now for the brutally modern part. Mirrors can generate creepy experiences even without folklore helping. Studies on mirror gazing in low light have found that normal observers, after staring at their own face in a mirror for a few minutes under dim illumination, can begin to see distortions and strange faces, including monsters, relatives, animals, or deceased faces. In one study, healthy young adults often began perceiving these apparitions after about a minute. So, yes, if you stare at your own reflection in low light long enough, your brain really can start producing nightmare content on its own, which is honestly the funniest possible outcome. Thousands of years of superstition, ritual, and ghost stories. And modern science shows that one reason the mirror feels cursed is because your perception starts glitching under exactly the conditions folklore already loved: darkness, stillness, repetition, expectation. Humans figured out the scary setup first. Then neuroscience showed up late and went, actually, that bathroom is terrible for visual stability. Thanks, guys. Massive help. Why they hit so hard. So why did mirrors become one of humanity's oldest creepy objects? Because they sit right on the fault line between body and image, self and other, life and death, surface and depth. A mirror shows the visible world, but it feels like it should show more. It looks truthful, yet it reverses you. It looks passive, yet it reacts. It feels empty, yet it is always full of someone. Usually you. Sometimes that feels worse. And mirrors attach themselves to every fear humans already have. Fear of aging, fear of hidden illness, fear of being watched, fear of doubles, fear of spirits, fear of grief, fear of seeing what you do not want to see. Fear that the thing looking back is technically you but spiritually unemployed. So the mirror becomes this perfect horror machine. It does not chase you. It waits. It lets you walk up to it. That is a much nastier form of confidence than most monsters have. The so what? The real reason mirrors lasted in horror is not because people were stupid in the past and smart now. It is because the object is genuinely good at pressing the exact buttons humans hate: identity, mortality, uncertainty, self-recognition, loss, distortion. You can explain the optics. You can explain the rituals. You can explain the hallucinations. And the object still wins at 2:13 a.m. When the bathroom is dark and your reflection loads in one frame too slowly. That is the genius of the mirror. It is not scary because it hides something. It is scary because it shows something, and you are never fully sure how much it is allowed to show. Rapid recap. Mirrors were strange before they were common. Early mirrors were dark, curved, costly, and imperfect. People linked reflections to the soul, not just the face. The Greeks already tied reflection to danger. Mirror divination existed. Yes, that was a real thing. Mirrors could be ritual objects, not just household tools. Some mourning customs covered them after death. Romans helped lock in the broken mirror bad luck idea. Modern legends like Bloody Mary kept the old logic alive. And in dim light, your own brain can make the mirror feel haunted. So the takeaway is simple. A mirror is the oldest jump scare in your house because it turns me into maybe me. And humans have never handled that well. Like the video, comment with the one mirror in your house that has the worst energy, and subscribe if you want me to keep ruining normal objects for you.